Good morning. Today's video is going to be about how I stayed safe in my van while traveling with my daughter. So we lived in our van for about 3.5 years. We were off grid the whole time. We did dispersed camping, boondock camping on public land. We rarely spent the night at a campground. And I just wanted to share some of the things that I did to help keep us safe the whole time. We rarely had any issues or any problems, and I just wanted to go through those things with you. As we traveled across the United States, homeschooling and learning along the way, we did bring our pets, so a guard dog was very important for me. She is a quarter boxer and 3/4 Great Pyrenees. She ended up being a little bit larger than we expected, almost 100 pounds. But she is protective. She is always outside the van during the day, hanging out, and with us on all the hikes, and whenever we're doing crafts or whatever during the day, she is right there with us. It makes a big difference having an animal. You don't have to have one this large, but they do make you feel safe and can hear things that you can't hear at night or when you're sleeping. We started traveling with her when she was a year old as a puppy and has been trained at this lifestyle. She knows where her home base is and what to protect. And it's always fun to have an animal with you just so you don't get lonely too. The next big thing is keeping safe at the gas station. I always try to go during the day and never at night. And when I am pumping gas, I don't like to turn my back on everybody. I try to look out for people that are around me, who else is at the gas station. And like I said, during the day seems like the safest. Nighttime, all kinds of crazy things happen. So I try to get all of my errands, my water gathering, or if I have to get air in my tires, fuel or whatever, I do that during the day. I also, when I pull into the gas stations, I look around and see who else is there. Sometimes these are pretty desolate areas and you have no idea who's out there just lurking around. So sometimes I'll sit in my vehicle for a little while and just kind of look and see who else is in the area. But one of my biggest things is making sure I'm not followed to some place. I actually have had that happen many times where somebody's followed me into a gas station and I just sit there until they leave. Before I go out to my campsite, I like to look at the reviews and make sure that most other people that have been there have had positive experiences, no sketchy things. I've seen where people have gotten stuff stolen when they would go into town to get supplies. So I like to avoid those kind of areas. I'll use a couple different apps to look for those reviews. So sharing your location, there's lots of free apps out there to do that. Also, if I'm going to go into an area where there isn't any cell phone signal, I will share my coordinates with somebody and tell them my time frame that I'm going to be out of touch so they don't worry. And you can also bring along GPS or spot locators if you need to call for emergency help. Next is leaving out early in the morning. I like to leave out early and get to my next campsite before dark. I usually only travel a few hours a day, and I like to avoid traveling at night because in case you break down or you have to go to a gas station at night, those seem to be the most unsafe times to travel around. So if I leave in the morning, I can get to my next place before dark and get all set up. I feel that's my safest bet. Also, in case I can't find a camp spot, I can travel to get to another some of my second choices in case the first ones were all full. I will usually have several spots marked, so in case I can't find something, I go to A, B, and C kind of choices to make sure I am at a spot, getting it all set up and comfy before the sun goes down, have the dog out, have my meal all done, and can chill and relax for the rest of the evening. The next most important thing is parking smart. I always park with my nose facing out, so in case I have to make a quick getaway, it's easy to leave in a hurry. Also, if you're unsure what the road conditions are, I will stop and get out and walk it and look to make sure it's something that I will be able to get down or turn around, because the last thing I want to do is get stuck and need somebody's help to pull me out. So make sure you're always able to turn around in that spot and face outward no matter where you're at. And don't be worried if you have to get out and look at the place that you're thinking about driving down to make sure it's something that's safe also, there's no big ruts, and that it's something that you can fit into. I prefer to camp out in the middle of nowhere, but I know that's not for everybody. Some people like to be more in campgrounds like this one, where there is a few other people, but see how I still park with my nose facing out, even though there's other people around. But if you don't like doing it with this level, you can also go to these van meetups and other kind of caravan groups you can join. There's all kinds of meetups, so you can be with other people all the time if you would feel safer with other people. Next thing is camera system. I had a series of different cameras. I had a dash camera that was mounted up in the front of my van that would go off anytime there was bumps, noises, or movements. I also had a rear-facing camera that I could turn on by the dash and look at it when the vehicle was on. And I also would often have another one that I would put underneath my bumper for at nighttime to make sure that nobody was ever walking around my campsite or snooping around at night. Not only do you have to worry about people, but also wildlife. So when I would get to my campsite, I would walk around and make a circle around it and look for evidence of different signs of wildlife. I would look for scat or poop of different things to see what to expect. So in case we are out walking, we don't have some kind of wildlife sneak up on us. I could look for evidence of rubs or leaves chewed. We would also never go too far away from our campsite if we knew there was some wildlife that would pose a threat to us. A lot of times we would find baby moose and the mama out there, and you do not want to get close to them just for a picture. Bison, all of those kind of things. We kept our distance to make sure we would stay safe. You don't want to get charged by one of these angry mothers and need medical attention, because most of the time we were well over an hour, sometimes 2 hours probably, from a decent hospital. I also would always put some kind of solar lights or fairy lights inside the van, so as it got dark at night, those would automatically turn on and we'd be able to see our van better at night, because believe it or not, it gets really dark out here, and there's been times when I've been in the woods and I stepped maybe 20 feet away from the van, and because of fog and mist, I couldn't see the van at all. So I'd have a set up in my dash that would be on all the time, and then I also put some rope lights around the bottom of the van and around the wheels, which also helps to keep away rats or mice in the desert, and then it helps you find your way back at night. I also carried multiple different types of weapons, from bear spray to regular mace to a metal bat that I kept next to my seat that has a flashlight in the end. I did carry a handgun. I had a knife that could go on my neck for when I would hike, different flashlights in case you did hear something out at night. And I also sometimes carried a pair of man shoes or boots and would put those outside my door so people would think there was another person there. And most importantly is just trusting your gut. If you don't feel right about a camping situation, then just go ahead and leave. I have left before at 5 a.m. when I didn't feel secure about the situation where I was staying. It's not that big of a deal. Better safe than sorry. So I hope these things will help you stay safe out there on the road, whether you're boondock camping, off-grid camping, or staying at a campground. We want to enjoy our time out there and stay as safe as possible. All right, thank you for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already.